You're listening to the Primal Happiness Show, a podcast dedicated to helping you thrive in this crazy modern world. Every Tuesday, we explore the nature of how our minds really work, what exactly the human animal requires to thrive, and how we can live happier and more fulfilling lives. If you're new here and haven't yet taken our free class, then there's no better place to get a jump start on reclaiming your primal happiness. It's where we'll guide you step by step through our antidote to today's modern world. Simply head on over to primalhappiness.co/antidote to get the free class and discover how to thrive without having to move to a planet that's not so crazy as ours. But now, your host, Leanne Brooke-Tyler.
Hello, my beautiful people. A huge warm welcome back to the show. In today's crazy modern world, men and women are living shallow, disconnected, and unfulfilling lives. So we created the path for those who are ready to reclaim their wildness and actualize their deepest gifts. And the next way that you can walk this path is by joining us for Waking the Wild Medicine, which begins this March. In this crucible, you will uncover the wild medicine of your soul, the gift to the world that you came here to be. You will create the potent ways to administer this medicine via your own unique embodiment in alignment with divine archetypal energies. You will liberate to become the fullest expression of your soul, giving your deepest gifts in service to the world. In material terms, this means you become available for an abundance of connection, impact, and wealth, and anything else your soul desires to flow as you. You can discover more and arrange a call with one of us to explore whether indeed this is aligned for you by going to primalhappiness.co/medicine. Places are limited and they are filling up fast. So if you would like to be in conversation with us as to whether a place is meant for you, do book that call with us now. And now on to this week's show. It's with Lynne Forrest, our second-time guest. She was on the show a month or so ago talking about the victim triangle, which is one of my favourite topics ever. This time she's back talking about eternal laws, and it really is a wonderful part two to the first one that we did. So Lynne is regarded as a non-traditional psychotherapist who has been in private practice for over 25 years, is widely known as a reality guide and personal growth mentor for empathy, compassion, and her no-nonsense approach in dealing with life issues. She uses ancient spiritual principles to help those who struggle to find their way into right alignment with themselves and their life purpose. In this show, which, as I say, was a part two to our first conversation about the victim triangle, we spoke about what observer consciousness is, how we can move into it, the universal laws, and lastly, a daily practice for you to sit down and meet with your higher self. Sounds good? Let's dive in. Hello, Lynne. Welcome back to the show.
Hello. It's good to see you.
It's so good to see you.
Busy turning off the windows that come up. I'm like going, wait, I can't see you.
Move them all out the way and see the beautiful Lynne again.
That's a lot like life. Wait, I can't see this quite clearly. Let me move this over a little bit.
Kind of a metaphor,
this junk's in the way. Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Wow. We've got, I thought the topic that we spoke about last time was pretty much as like juicy and as powerful and as fascinating, as helpful as it gets. And then here we are again. And this one I think is probably going to be equally all those things. So I can't wait. So we are going to, we touched on this last time. So we went really deep. So if listeners are listening, definitely listening to the part one that we did on victim triangle first would be very wise. And we touched on observer consciousness. But today's episode, we're going to go deep into what that is, which again, is for me a delightful thing to be doing with you. So where should we start? How would you define observer consciousness?
Observer consciousness is the way we see the world when we are in alignment with the basic universal truth. And the thing about that is that we, as the course, it brings up the next question is, well, what is the universal truth? And there is a litmus test that was given to me as I grew up in esoterics and metaphysics. And so, and I was given this test to determine whether something is really true, meaning real. I mean, like reality. And it's very simple. And it's just this: what is real is eternal. Everything else is temporary. So you think about what in the world is eternal and that you know of. Well, nothing. But that which fills us, that breath, and we are something else. And this is what, in order to move out of victim consciousness, we have to begin to develop the ability to see that we are so much more than the story that we've come to believe about who we are. And begin to align with that part of us, begin to build a relationship with that part of us. That's our job.
My goodness, what a way to start this.
Why not start out? You know, it's like, we only got so much time. Let's just cut to the chase. All right.
Wow. I must say, there's part of me just loving what you're saying, but there's also part of me that's like just marveling you growing up in an environment where, you know, like this is a simple test and it's something like that. I mean, how glorious. And you are living the embodiment of that upbringing.
It is so simple. The truth is always simple, but that doesn't make it easy.
Yeah.
And confusing, because we have all this. We've got this battle going on. The great battle is the one that's going on within us between these two selves. Or actually, it's because really the observer self, that one that knows who we are, there's no problem there. That part of us doesn't look at the world and say, oh, bad, wrong, shouldn't happen. But the victim ego does, because the victim ego was bred in fear. You know, we come in and take on the story of our family, and with all the limitations, and we get into that as being who I am. I am that description. I am the one who's had all that happen to, which makes it me unworthy or unlovable or not enough or in danger. In danger, for sure.
Yes, where the world and its differences are a threat.
Yes. So we're walking around from the time we're 2, we're walking around and seeing the world through the lens of fear. And that is never so more apparent than now.
Yes. Oh my goodness, the timeliness of this episode. Yeah.
Well, and the thing, and that I think that's really why I'm just jumping in. It's like, okay, for those of you out there who are, you know it, you know there's something. It's like we recognize the truth when we hear it.
Yes. Yeah, we can feel it, can't we?
We can feel it, yeah. And that's the part of us that's, real. That's the part of us. That's the part of us we begin to learn to listen to. We're so busy listening to out there, to what's happening out there, and reacting, knee-jerk reacting to whatever is happening out there, with no ability to see it from a higher perspective, a perspective that says, well, wait a minute, everything that's number one, it's not real. It's not, because it's not eternal. It's not an eternal part of me. That is not who goes on. That story, that all drops like, day old underwear. I can't believe I said that. That is like, that was my Southern roots coming out there. Oh my
I love it. It's particularly apt today. You know, I said I just come out of leading a ceremony. It was a women's circle, and I think about half of us didn't actually have knickers on at all. So it's particularly apt that you should use that.
I so needed to know that, you know. I know I needed to know that. And that, see, and what we're doing right now, we're seeing the world through another lens besides the one that says it's a problem. Because when we're in victim, we're looking, because we're in survival mode all the time. So we're this bundle of defense mechanisms and strategies and made up of beliefs that hold it together, beliefs based in fear of, you know, of getting gotten, of you know, just we're terrified. We're walking around terrified. A lot of us are. Either that or we're in denial of it. You know, it's the both and. But a rigid place, a place of contraction, a place of dis-ease.
And as you said, it's at times like this when it looks like a logical response is to be scared, that can bring us even more like firmly into that place on the victim triangle. Well, of course I would be here. Of course.
That's right. That's why that's the victim triangle is born out of that. It is the way we feel and react. You know, we take on one of those defense strategies in victim consciousness because we're operating out of fear. So we either collapse into the helpless baby, or we persecute, attack, like the persecutor, the blamer, the bully, or we take control of it and fix it all the way we think it should be. And we gang up with those who agree with us that that's the way it should be. And so then we have this faction over here that's got it all, you know, we know how it should be, and this over here. And now we have this tension, and it's the tension of the polarities. And here's the thing. I'm observing all this, but I'm doing it, but I am not attached to it. I'm not like, oh, I got to choose one pile or the other. And that's, so observer begins to see that, okay, neither one of those are who I really am. I'm something beyond that. What is that? Does that make any sense to you?
It really does. It really does. Have you ever had, in all your years of teaching, have you ever had someone not be able to experience themselves in the way that you're talking about, not able to experience themselves as a term, not able to experience that higher part of them?
I've encountered lots of people who tell themselves they cannot experience this. But so it starts right there. The intervention starts at the word can't. Because when I believe I can't, who am I going to turn into? Well, who am I going to be? How am I going to feel believing I can't? And then how do I react out of that? If not, but prove that I can't.
Yes.
And so and this is why the universal laws are the doorway that help us move. I'm so glad you asked that question. It's leading into this very nicely. That is how you move out of victim consciousness into an observer consciousness. It's higher ground. It's a higher frequency. One of the laws, and I've got the laws here, and I've made them available. That you are making them available. Thank you very much. The guiding principles. These are based on universal laws. That means these are true, and you don't have to just believe them on faith. You once you know of them, you see them, you observe them, and you begin to be able to interact with these laws in ways that help you see from a different perspective, from a perspective of higher ground, where you see things as purposeful. The very first law is the law of cause and effect. And it says that there's no coincidence, that everything is going to be in sync with the energy of that moment. So whatever I'm thinking and you're thinking is creating a frequency, a feeling. That's what the frequency, that's what puts out the frequency. the feeling. So, I'm sitting here thinking, well, I don't know what to say, and I don't think I can do this. Okay, let's say and now I just don't know. And so now I'm feeling the apprehension of that, and the of that, all those words. And then how am I gonna react? I'm gonna stumble when I speak. I'm gonna not be able to make eye contact with you because I don't know. Right? This is me, and then you're going to react and respond out of that. And this is us now buying into, this is who I am.
Yes.
This is who I am, and I can't get out. So there's no hope for me. I can't.
You're stuck in the material effect rather than the law.
And not understanding that every time you tell yourself, I can't, you're actually in that moment going to be feeling and acting in ways that will prove you can't. It's a loop.
Yes. Yes.
But it's very mechanical, meaning it is always true. This is the way the mind works, and this is the way the mind interacts with the universal mind, which is everything, and as I'm moving my hand through it, it's the ethers, it's the breath of God, it's that which we take in, and God, I love this acronym, God as the acronym grand, original, director, creator, God is a design. That's it. Grand, original, design. There it is. That's what God is. God is the grand, original design. And God, and that energy that moves through that design is the grand, original designer. And everything is designed with purpose. And everything is based on a projection of thought. Because thought is what we project into the energy field that then vibrates at a particular emotional tone. So it's going to be a very different emotional tone when I'm thinking about how grateful I am for the way the universe pours through me. I'm going to feel a very different emotional tone thinking those thoughts than down here thinking as previously, where well, who am I can't blah blah blah. But that tone that I'm transmitting is going to be what I attract in response. Only every time, this is universal law. And I've had the glory of being able to walk this path as a profession for 40 years.
Wow.
And so I've been able to watch it over and over again. So, that's why I speak so fluently about it. I've seen it a lot, and I don't hesitate to speak it because I know it's true.
Yeah. Yes, I can so feel your absolute clarity. It's just embodied, just from your lived experience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask something before we go deeper into the universal laws? I just want to, I think I know the answer you're going to say, but I feel like it's one of those ones where I think it's going to be worth highlighting. My sense is that these universal laws are eternal, and therefore, even being in the contemplation of them returns us to our eternal self. Just because we're in the same water.
That's how you do it. That's exactly it, Leanne. Yeah. Because you sit, and that's what the daily practice is all about. That's why I do a daily, not once in a while when I feel like it, daily, not out of obligation and guilt because, I should do that because I say I'm going to do it. And if I don't do it, then what will they think? And it's not that. It's do it because I can't wait to get there. Because even if I feed the kitties first, even if I, do this or that first, my mind is on the mat in my corner, in my space where I've got my yoga mat and my candle that I can light and bring my attention in and consciously apply the laws and move through, let it move through my body, maybe through yoga or something like that. But it's not me going through a program. It's me aligning with and allowing myself to feel and experience what I've been holding. What I look at my past 24 hours, I look and say, what am I learning? Where were the places that I had to react? What was I telling myself at that moment? Where was I? And if I was looking at it through the principles, how would I be seeing it right now? Instead of reacting out of it. And that's where this little paper comes in so handy, guiding principles versus the victim perspective, because you get to kind of look down law, cause, effect, and then you say, well, what is the victim perspective? The law of cause and effect says there's no coincidence and everything has a cause, regardless of whether what we experience is painful or creates happiness. It is always for the expansion of your consciousness, it is purposeful, not painless. We have this idea that it shouldn't hurt. And if it does, it means it's wrong and bad. No, hurt means get your attention now. And check out here, because your higher self is knocking at your door. It's a messenger. It's emergency. It's the spirit emerging. Yeah, there's not a shaman that's considered a genuine shaman in tribal cultures who did not go through a death experience.
Yes.
Where it all just falls away. You just gotta, that's what you get to do as whatever it is that you're holding on to, as that's who I am.
Yes.
And we're in a time on our planet when this is really, it's happening. We know it's happening. I think that's why I speak so boldly about it, is because it's like, it's pretty obvious, and to those who are ready to do this, and to the rest, to others, it's just not your time.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of us ready to hatch. And hatching means begin to develop a way of seeing it, of seeing what is going on, so that you don't have to turn it into your downfall, a problem. That which is you begin to see it through eyes that say it is purposeful. How is it serving me? What is it bringing up in me that's being brought to consciousness, I'm being asked to shed light on, to see through eyes of eternity rather than through eyes of this is going to be the end of me.
Yeah. I think that is the most transformative, alchemical question we can ask ourselves, and it never fails to amaze me how even in the most painful times, the times where we're most lost, it feels as though there can't be a purpose, there can't be meaning. The moment we even have the consciousness to ask a question of that kind, is that immediately seems to change something. And, through the language you're saying, I guess it's because immediately we start to shift into that higher being.
Well, because again, if you just follow the energy, see what happens is as soon as you begin to shift in your thoughts, whether you're going down with your thoughts or up, as soon as you shift with your thoughts, then you're going to start generating an emotional tone that is vibrating at that level. And so it's a secret of life, really, and we're here to learn it. We say, well, what about people who can't do this? Well, they will. They're eternal. Maybe they didn't come to get there this time. Maybe they came to experience the stuckness of living a whole life in a particular archetype.
That definitely happens, doesn't it?
Well, it does happen. And you know what? Where would we be without them? Because they are the contrast that we may come up against that sends us in the direction that we came to go in.
Yes. Yeah, beautifully
and so
said.
We stop making even that a problem. It doesn't mean that I don't react the way I do in the midst of it. I might react in whatever way. It might be a violent way. It might not be. It might be do the victim, where I go, where I come in and go out. But here's the thing, it's like, and I don't mean to sound cold about this, it's just that there's this understanding that I'm so much more. And at the same time, fully invested in living this story. It's not like I want to rise above my story. It's that I just want to know that I'm in it when I'm in it, and have a little bit of, well, how would I like to direct it at this point? Not, I shouldn't be here, because I came to have this story.
I love that. Lynne, I feel like you've made such a beautifully clear distinction there between what could seem like bypassing, just like, oh, I'm just going to hover above this and tell myself it's not really real, and, you know, it's all just a thought, and, you know, it's meaningless. And what you've just said, I think, grounds this in a sense of, this isn't all I am, and I chose to come here to play out this story. And knowing that, as you say, you know, how may I create this in a way that really does serve my expansion?
Right.
Not
what can I learn from this moment? You know, it may be one of those just excruciatingly painful moments of isolation or depression or anger, rage, or whatever. It might be any of that. And it's like, wake up in the middle of it means, oh, I chose to experience this. Why would I? Not what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
Why would I do that? I'm so stupid. I just no. This great adventurer that I truly am, that chose to come to this planet, and which is a planet where we literally create whatever we line up with mentally, you know, whatever we believe, whatever. And it's not just a mental thing. It's a whole pattern, you know, made up of our thoughts, which become beliefs when we add emotion and reaction to the thought. It becomes a belief. And now we will take on the character of what it is we're believing, and we will act in ways that bring us the belief system we've created in our minds. We are co-creators. We're co-creating all the time, meaning that the energy of creation comes through us. But we get to decide where and how to direct it. And if I'm directing it to fear-filled places that are, oh, I'm going to get hurt, I'm going to die there, it's going to get me, that thing I'm going to run, you know. And what I'm doing is I'm building the fantasies in my mind of the worst case scenarios, and then I'm surprised when I meet them. I know I said a lot there to that.
No, there's so much. It's gorgeous. Something I'd love to hear you talk about. This came up in a conversation with a client yesterday. So I feel this could be something that is a concern for many. When they start to hear a philosophy like this, the fear can be, but I had been thinking about worst case scenario. I've been doing that, you know, off and on all day today. And I'm really want to see something differently, but equally I have thought about, you know, the worst case scenario 15 times today. Does that mean it's going to happen? I'd love you to answer that question.
That's such a good question. No, it doesn't mean, you know, the one of the things that I discovered much earlier on was that the vibration, because so we've got this let's call it a column of levels. You know, we've got this energy that is just moving up the spectrum. And so when we talk about high frequency, when I talk about high frequency, I'm talking about aligned with feelings like love, compassion, acceptance, serenity, the things that we like to feel, that we want to feel, that we aspire to live in. And then we have the lower spectrum, which is fear-based, anger, you know, the guilt, the blood, all of that stuff. It's heavy. It's heavy. I love the Kedros Indians. They did not have language for good or bad, but they spoke of as bad being heavy. It was their word for it. Was like the heavy stuff that they carry, the feelings that take them down. And Sami is the high energy where you move up the scale. And so it's like that. And so now what you're wanting, when you are creating thoughts that are you're generating low. But here's the thing, the lower frequency, the hucha, they call it, the hucha, heavy energy, is not near as powerful. It's not near as potent, because the higher up the scale it goes, so to speak, the more clear the ucha is being dropped off more and more. It's getting lighter and lighter and lighter, like a feather. And it's getting so light that it's just all light. And that is that's instantaneous. Anything thought in that level of consciousness, done now. There it is.
I got chills then.
Yeah. But when you're down here, then you're putting out. So what you begin to do, it's sort of like when we wake up, we see things that we don't necessarily like to see. It's not but it's not about making it a problem. It's about saying, well, how would I like it to be? What would I like to? How would I like to be feeling here? And and then you just sort of pick a number on the scale. Higher frequency feelings up in the hundreds or maybe thousands, and down here it's not so. And so I'm down here at 30. I'd like to be I'd like to be 60, 70. How could I see this right now that would allow me to feel aligned with that? And I'm breaking this down mechanically just to give people an image of it. When you're doing it, it's a flow. It's a sort of like how would I like to be feeling? Well, I'd like to be feeling at peace. Well, how can I see this right now? That might be true, if not truer. Like if I saw it through the eternal lens, that through the lens that says I'm eternal, and that says that there's no accident, no mistake. See, I begin to pick up these principles. I pick up the perspective, the law of vibration, which says that we're energy in motion. That's what emotion is, energy in motion. And we're transmitting that. And that's what's being picked up and reflected back to us. And we're receivers and senders. And so we just begin to work with that. We begin to learn how. You don't have to believe what you think. You can do what we call question your thoughts. And if it's a thought that's down here in the low tones, then you might want to just say, well, you know what? What if that weren't true? What would the opposite of that be? What if I believe that? This is where I believe that Byron Katie's work has been so helpful. It certainly was for me, because she just provides a very simple but potent eternal tool, which is the 4 questions and turnaround. It's like, well, is it true? Well, do you know it's true? Well, who do you become when you think it's true? And how would you like it to be instead? Take it, turn it around.
Yeah, so powerful, so powerful.
And this is all for the purpose of moving you up that emotional scale, so that what you're attracting is going to be of higher and higher, more of the light energy. Do you hear how simple this is?
Really I love what you've said there about the higher frequency are, the more powerful they are. I think that's such a gorgeous thing for people to hear. And of course, worrying about the thoughts that we've had that are fearful is creating more of that. So that doesn't serve anyway. So why not celebrate? I often say, any time that we've noticed where we have been, notice that we've been in victim in itself is so, that already is a return to observer consciousness. That's already something to celebrate. That's already somewhere higher.
That's exactly right. You can be in the dregs. And as soon as you step back into observer and say, well, okay, I chose this, meaning my higher self evidently thought it was necessary. I go through this. That's what that means. Yeah. So, okay, well, here I am. What if I step back and notice how I react, where my reactions take me, and begin to ask the question, well, how would I like it to be? How can I get there from here? And you just begin to actually play with that. I mean, it's serious business, and it's not easy, but I tell you, it is simple, straightforward.
I love.
Does this make sense?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. What I would love to know is, I suspect right now there's so many things that for people look like a real threat. And so if they were to ask a question like, is this true? They may be able to find a way of kind of like, nope, that feels like it is true. Would you be able to share either a personal example or it might be a, one that you've seen come up for someone else where it may have been more of a challenge to see that it wasn't true. It may have been more of a challenge to move into observer consciousness, and what allowed you to do that? Does that question make sense?
Oh, it's a great question. Yeah. And it's one asked a lot. And it's, here's the thing about it, is asking if it's true. It's the way what you're describing is sort of what the human mind goes. It does. It says, but I see it. I touch it. It is real. That is real. And it happened to me. And, and it shouldn't have happened to me. And I am a victim here. And and here's the thing. So yes, you are. Yes, I am. I am going through this experience. I came here to have it. I am supposed to go fully into experiencing it as if it were real, because I came to have. That's one of the reasons we, as soul beings, go through the veils of it's called the 7 veils of forgetting. The 7 where we go through. We make contract with ourselves not to remember who we are, because we came to have the whole experience. And this is a place where every story that's ever been dreamed up, every thought that's ever been thought gets to become a reality, meaning manifest, meaning 3D, and we get a 3D body, that a form that's made of form, and it's what's driving it that we're learning. And so it's not like I shouldn't experience my life. It's like, it's that I also get to have those moments of stepping back and going, wow, right? How, and it's sort of like driving in the fog, and going somewhere, and you're dependent on seeing the signs, and you can't see anything for the fog. You can't even see a mile ahead of you. And so you have to just wait for those signs to show up when they're caught in the headlight of a car that says, where I'm going, city, 5 miles, that's okay. And then it closes off again. And now you're just driving along again. And okay, well, I either am on the right, or I got that signal, I got that signal. I'm on the right path. And it's like that sometimes, we're in the drama. But what you can simultaneously do is to have every morning sit down with your higher self, connect with that, and ask for how can I transform this to a higher place? How can I begin to work with this as gristle? Yeah. It's all grist for the mill of refinement. I came to have this experience so that I would learn things, and there's nothing wrong with the journey I'm having. We have this idea that if you don't have a big bank account, or if you don't have this, this or that, or you're not living here, or if you don't have whatever it is, then I'm not successful. I'm not worthy. My life is, but every single path was chosen as a ride to have the very experience you're having. And you will attract to you because those who are also on that path.
Yeah.
And so you don't really have to worry about what's happening over there. We do a lot of that. We start ducking. We're going, it's coming. And then we begin to bring it to us by energetically as a collective. So we move it to us. We're moving calamities around to us. Think about how this might apply to various things that we are, troubled by in the world.
Absolutely.
And so our job is about holding ground every day, holding ground for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, 3 minutes. I like 2 hours and that gives me a chance to completely go through, and I get more done. When I give myself that time, when I give myself time with that, because that can then I'm hooking up. And that is then when I walk out of there, that's what's pouring through.
Yeah. And I love the way you worded it, like have a sit down with your higher self. So we're almost up on time. And I know you've touched on it a few times in terms of your daily practice. Would you be able to outline, if listeners are hearing something in this for them, what that could look like, how they could create their own daily practice, what you would suggest?
Oh, there's so much to say about that, because when I haven't missed a day in 12, 15 years. I've lost track now, but literally, truly. And again, not out of obligation and guilt, but because it is that critical for my being, and especially in this day and time when there's so much drama, so much story going on, and not that it shouldn't be. This is a powerful, potent time, and every single one of us chose to be here now. Yes. We wouldn't be here otherwise. So the drama you're having is yours to have it. But give a few minutes to lining up, and that can be just simply light a candle and take 3 minutes to just not think a thought. And you do that with these simple, by doing this, you sit down, close your eyes, and every time you have a thought that takes you away from just no thoughts, is you just say, not now, to every thought that just not now, not now. Recenter, just be 3 minutes, do it 3 minutes, start there. And then you know, there's yoga, but that's about allowing the body to move. Just basically let the body move. Don't get all fancy about, well, I got to go out and get Pilates tapes or yoga tapes. Just sit down, breathe, and let your body begin to move and stretch the way it wants to, Bring, and as you're doing that, envision that you are calling in that which knows who you essentially are. And ask to be guided, ask to connect. I was told many years ago, when I was caught up in the whole, I should get up and go work, do my workout because I should, but I didn't want to. And so I just asked the question, well, so how can I get past this place of just doing it out of obligation? And immediately I heard the inner voice. You get to know the inner voice after a while, like you do an old friend. They call you up on the phone, you know who they are, but you spend every morning with them. So that inner voice spoke to me in that moment and said, if you will get up and go to your practice, go to your morning, as if you were going to meet your secret lover. And you're sneaking off to go see your secret lover. And when you get into the room, you want to prepare the space for him. So you light the candle and you light the incense and you put on the music that really feeds you and that you can feel in this moment. And if you will do that, said the inner voice to me that morning, I will come. I will come. I will always come. And it just still keeps being true every single day. So that, I guess, is what a daily practice is all about. And because from there, you just get instructions and you bring in all kinds of parts. You might bring in journaling. You might bring in, I have parts. Breath work is so, so, so important. Breath and movement, very important. My son is he's a dancer, performer, massage therapist, knows all. He's been doing it he's 52. He's been doing it for 40 years with the metaphysical background. And he and I work together, and we've worked on this body component of bringing people into their bodies so that the body actually begins to become the vessel for the alchemical process of transformation, remembering who we are. Remembering who we are. Not getting rid of, we're not here to get rid of anything. Your victim ego is the ride you came to take. That's the little character. It's just not the main part of you. You've got it backwards, but you came to have it backwards. And it may be your time to realize that, or it might not be. And either way is okay with me. Either way, because either it's good, you're eternal. You can have as many lifetimes as you decide. And so I'm not in a hurry to get anybody anywhere. I don't see you as needing to be fixed. I see you as someone here to experience what you're experiencing. And now, because if you're sitting with me at least, there's a good chance that you've decided that part of you has decided that you are ready to remember who you are.
I feel
I'm
like
just here to hand you tools to do that.
I feel like we just danced like right to the end, and I just like, oh
my goodness. Well, yeah, it's so wonderful to have a chance to talk about it like this and just let it flow. Well, I get to do this every day, really, but I love it. I love it all day long. I'm doing what I came to do for sure. And that is just be a voice. Be a voice. Be as clear as I can. I remember this time many, many years ago when I decided at Christmas time to spend 10 days alone and not do my family thing. And my husband at the time was he had gone to Thailand to help with, he was a builder to help with the project there. And so I just decided to take the 10 days. We lived on a gated place. I drove in, I heard that that gate clank behind me. It was like, 10 days. Oh my gosh, what have I done? What was I thinking? There's no way I'm going to be able to handle me, because I committed not to call anyone, to be silent, me and the dogs, right? By day 2, I was like, this is not going to be long enough. There's just no way this is going to be long enough. And every day just got juicier and juicier of that time alone with the essential of who I am, So I recommend it highly, whether it's 10 days or 10 minutes. Just start.
Go meet your secret lover. I don't think you
that's right.
Put that much more evocatively. Oh my goodness, Lynne, this has been such a delight yet again. If we'll make sure everything we've spoken about, I'll probably leave in all the resources from last time, as well as the ones we've talked about. So it's kind of there all together. If people would like to find out more about you, what you do, and go straight to your website, where can they go find you?
Where can they? I would, LynneForrest.com, LYNNEFORREST.com. Also, Reality Formula Live. Google my name, Lynne Forrest, with Reality Formula Live. Or maybe we can put that. Do you have that? Did I give you that website?
Yes, we have got that.
Okay, that link. Yeah. So just go there and check out our webinar that my daughter and I do live twice a month, where we just talk like this. We just talk like this, and members get to sit with us and work on it, or something that's going on in their life, and we apply the principles to it, and it's really fun. So come be a part of our community.
George, I love that you are creating this multi-generation metaphysical family. Like, wow.
Yeah. I know, right?
It doesn't get much better than that. How gorgeous. Yeah, wonderful. What a gift to the world.
Thank you so much. What a gift you are. Thank you so much, Leanne, for this moment, this opportunity with you. You're such a bright, easy flowing, moderator. I really enjoy your style, and because it doesn't feel like a style. It feels like you just being you. It feels really nice.
Oh, thank you so much. I really received that. After, as I said to you earlier, I'm wide open today. My heart, I don't think, gets any more open than this. This has just been complete joy. Very easy to just show up as me with you. Thank you so much, Lynne. And I've got a feeling we'll probably be doing this all over again on another topic.
You know where I am.
Until then, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day.
Oh, what a gorgeous episode. Here are my takeaways. What's real is what's eternal. As soon as we begin to move into the space of contemplating what's eternal, we naturally move into the higher frequency of observer consciousness, looking for the meaning of what we're experiencing. To see why we might have chosen it is like a secret portal into seeing the story we're creating and why. I loved how Lynne spoke about meeting with our higher self in a way that we might arrange to meet with a secret lover. What a gloriously evocative invitation. How will you meet with yours? If you'd like to get the notes and links for everything we spoke about this week, hop on over to the show notes, and they're at primalhappiness.co/episode 355. And if you are feeling the call to be your medicine, go take a look at primalhappiness.co/medicine now, and you can book your call with myself or Jonathan to explore fully if it is aligned for you to join us. If you don't want to miss out on next week's episode, head on over to Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or your app of choice and hit that subscribe button. That way you'll get each episode delivered straight to your device as soon as it's released. Thank you so much for listening. You've been wonderful. Catch you again next Tuesday.